misunderstandings about your role as an instructional designer can lead some to believe that your job is all about making things look pretty. Instructional designers do not design to make things look pretty. We design learning solutions to produce a change in human behavior. And if you want to design learning solutions that your learners rave about, then this video is just for you. Hi, I'm Urel and I design learning to solve problems and push progress. If you're new to my content, welcome and join the conversation. If you're returning, hey, how you been? Let me know how this learning is pushing your progress. Now, back to the problem. No. That is not what I meant. The definition for RAVE design is simple. RAVE design involves the integration of content and context within a learning experience that is realistic, accessible, valuable, and effective for learners. You have to add RAVE into the learning design. No. It's not a party. We're not talking about partying or dancing on the dance floor. Not at all. Quite the contrary. Think about it like this. When learning experiences are realistic, they simply reflect the way things work in the real world, opposed to theories and speculation that learners have to try and figure out. Design learning solutions with conditions and circumstances that are as real and reasonable as striking a match and expecting to see a flame appear. Just as a flame may not appear with every strike, learning may not transfer with every attempt. Likewise, when the learner doesn't grasp what is needed for the spark of learning to result, they may have to go over that information again and again until they get it. That is the way things work in the real world. Look at the conditions and circumstances respective to the needs of your learners to direct the design decision so you can create a learning experience that is realistic. The proof is out there for us to see that learners rave over learning experiences that are real all the time. The deeper the learner delves into the learning experience, the more realistic that learning experience must become. The way that you integrate accessibility in your learning solutions makes all the difference. The Society for Human Resource Management confirms that learning and development professionals should focus on accessibility in design and development to provide more equitable and inclusive learning. Accessibility is about making your learning solutions inclusive for all individuals so that they have equal opportunities to learn. Think about accessibility as a door that is either open or closed to your learners. Your job as the instructional designer is to open all doors and ensure that they remain open throughout the learning experience. Adding accessibility as a part of RAVE designs is critical since the World Economic Forum estimates that 50% of employees will need to be reskilled by 2025. But the majority of learning content that's produced today, well, it remains inaccessible to people with disabilities, excluding an estimated 12% to 26% of learners. For guidance to make your learning solutions accessible, visit the National Center on Accessible Education Materials, which provides technical assistance, coaching, and resources to increase the availability and use of accessible education materials and technologies for learners with disabilities across a lifespan. If you really want to create learning products and experiences that your learners rave about, then you have to make them accessible for everyone so that they can rave about it. The Great Resignation provoked people to think about value and the way their time is spent. According to Gartner, people are continually asking themselves, what makes me happy and whole? What truly satisfies me? Where have I given away too much of myself for little in return? Since work and skills go hand in hand, learners will ultimately ask these same, if not similar, questions when it comes to their learning experiences. This means, as an instructional designer, you have more questions to consider when it comes to your designs. The one question you'll need to consider early and often is, how do the design choices increase the value of learning towards one of these benefits? The answers will guide you in your design decisions. As a result of the COVID pandemic, we have a greater sense of expectation attached to value as it relates to the way people spend their time. As instructional designers, we can learn a lot from the lessons of the COVID pandemic and see what has influenced the Great Resignation to anticipate what our learners consider valuable to their learning experiences. The value of learning increases with the level of satisfaction that is gained through a learning benefit. Design learning experiences with value to satisfy the learning benefits and avoid those other distractions. At the end of the day, your learning design is only as effective as you've designed it to be for the learner and the outcomes. Tracking that effectiveness is typically conducted by a number of different approaches, including these. This is where the design of many learning solutions tend to fail or fall apart because instructional designers may not incorporate a tracking mechanism for the effectiveness, how it actually connects back to what the learner was expecting or needing to learn. If you want learners to rave about your learning products, then you have to focus on what they need and want. As we discussed earlier, people are really taking consideration of that value, and connecting that value with that learner benefit is critical. And when you connect the value with that learning benefit, you have to make sure that it is effective for your learners. Overall, if you want to design learning experiences that your learners rave about, then you have to make sure they are realistic, accessible, valuable, and effective. Remember, R, realistic. The deeper the learner delves into the learning content, the more realistic the learning experience must become. Designed so that the consequences are as obvious as a flame that appears after flicking a lighter. A, accessible. Examine accessibility assumptions closer to find those closed doors to learning. Then open them up for your learners. You'll be surprised how many of those doors are still closed. The, valuable. The value of learning increases with the level of satisfaction that is gained through a learning benefit. Whatever you add to the learning, make sure it increases a learning benefit. E, effective. Simplify approaches to track the effectiveness of learning experiences so you can focus on the learning benefits. This requires a design that includes what the learner needs and wants. Using this practice, you can design learning experiences that learners rave about. To all the instructional designers, doers, and dwellers, let me know what you think about this design approach of RAVE. And if you plan on using it in your next project, till next time, keep the inspiration, information, and instructional design ideas flowing. Hey, I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye bye.